Guys, I most definitely took a whole 28-minute video like 2 days ago, and I go and check it, and it literally is just static, just silent. I'm like, why? But, that's alright. Now we're back, and hopefully better. So, hey, welcome back to the channel. Um, Today's video is most definitely going to be dedicated to a painting titled "Oh Shoot, Where Did I Put the Bullets?" or "Where Did I Put the Bullets?" It's a Western themed painting that I did in 2021 that, you know, it's kind of funky, has a lot going on. Not really, but you guys voted on it. It literally had the same amount of votes that I Don't Think We're Alone had, so that was shocking. But, let's get into it. Actually, no, pause. We're not going to get into it yet because I most definitely just had a pop-up. We're just going to, talk about that a little bit. It wasn't my pop-up. It was more so that I was participating in a pop-up with other black vendors and black artists called Blackout event, and it was sponsored by Chicago French Press Coffees, Blackout Project, and sponsored by like Tito's and Jim Beam, like some of these alcoholic drink places. It was really cool. It had like a few other vendors. I think Tummy is like the cookie vendor, like a Jamaican cookie vendor, and then like I can't remember the name of it, but they're like these cake jars, and I like tag these people because it was really cool. It had some nice performances, like spoken word. They had some comedy and some, and some musical performances, and I thought it was really cool. It was my first pop-up ever, and I barely took any pictures, which was like, but I finally like released my prints, and people like grabbed some prints, grabbed a few card boxes, and did some pre-orders on the puzzles that I have now that I'll drop somewhere over here. But yeah, puzzles are for sale, prints are for sale, cards are for sale. Go to www.fineartbyraven.com to purchase. But yeah, let's actually get into "Oh Shoot, Where Did I Put the Bullets?" and all of its funky little things. I had to kind of write a little list, not a list, but like a let's keep focused, because there's a decent amount of stuff going on. Starting from like the inspiration for the piece, because it was like the second, painting that I decided to shoot for within this series. So in order of like shooting wise, it literally goes trick shot, "Oh Shoot, Where Did I Put the Bullets?" Rich or No, and then elsewhere, kind of, but that's within and also kind of without outside of the series. And then it goes "I Don't Think We're Alone," Blues. Then it goes to Pearls in the Wind Part 1, Pearls in the Wind Part 2. And that's pretty much like kind of like how it was shot. But in terms of how it was produced, Rich or No, I painted it before "Oh Shoot, Where Did I Put the Bullets?" But I took the shoot, like I actually did the photo shoot before. So, just swap those in order, I guess you could say. But the actual inspiration was the fact that, like, I kind of wanted to figure out some other movie genres that I could probably like just go and escape to, because I had realized from Trick Shot that I was really interested in creating these like mini movie scenes, and I wanted them to be really dramatic or cinematic in their nature. So I was just wondering, like, okay, let's go back to the classics. Like, we might touch on some film noir, we'll go into some westerns, we'll go into like some horror themes, some whatever. Like, just start jumping around in the movie genres. And I think that honestly my first interest in Western is coming from the fact that my dad watches Westerns. Like, he most definitely throughout my childhood has watched a whole bunch, like a whole bunch of movies, but also we used to watch like The Rifleman, the TV show together, and just like sing the theme song and just do a bunch of cowboy things. You know what I'm saying? Um, and my family like originated in the South. Like dad's from Mississippi, mom's from Alabama, so it's just like it's giving country. You know what I'm saying? In a cute way, country, but yeah. And so, um, and also the fact of the matter is that I have started to realize that a lot of my interest in cinematography is coming from the fact that also when I was a child, my dad's friends used to have like all these bootleg movies or whatever. So we used to have a lot of movies on deck just to watch at the same time. And like, you know, new movies, old movies, just a bunch of movies to watch. And so we would be binge watching these movies, like, um, you know, no matter what genre, just watching movies, and it was fun. It was like a little um, time to connect, but also just like a time to be escaping and like actually like just watching these movies. And it was so many. It took up so much time. It was like I could always go and watch something and go and be within a different space and time within a movie. So it started like that. And then because I was like, okay, I want a Western, how am I going to like accomplish the authenticity of the costumes or the space itself? So at the same time I was kind of looking for costumes, I was also researching places that I could shoot at, because I was first thinking like, you know, Western, it would be real cool if we could have a horse, you know, and or like someone could be on a horse or something. And I had decided that I was going to be in this painting, and my best friend Jackie was going to be in the painting, and then my boyfriend Cedric was going to be also in the painting. And then during the actual photo shoot, Summer was our camera hand, but like overall, me, Cedric, and Jackie were the people who were you know, were within the painting. And I had to go figure out all of our outfits. So I knew that I had a black cowboy hat that my dad had given me a minute ago, but it also was kind of too small, so I was like, I gotta go to the store. And honestly, for costumes, I just started thrifting. I was literally just like going to thrift store. Like I went to the suburbs, I was going up north, I was going around my house. Like I literally was just like going everywhere. And that was because like I was assuming that some thrift stores had like some simple stuff, like a plaid looking, you know, button up shirt, just something really simple, or some cowboy boots that somebody might not want, but maybe in our size, like even if they had a cowboy hat for cheap or whatever, because when you really go to different stores, maybe like in Pilsen or like way up north, they have like authentic like Western stores where people are still like shopping today, but they're actually like new items. They're really nice, high quality items, so they're not costing just, you know, $1 to $10. They're costing like $100 for a hat, $200 for some shoes with like real snake skin and a real snake head, like, you know. So I was like, how can we just keep this cost down? Like, I'm already going to hopefully I was trying to see if I could rent like for a stable or like some type of, you know, horse riding place, but they also were upcharging. They were upcharging. Like I just remember contacting a few different places asking if we would be able to do some shoots. Most of the places were like, no, we really just do rides. I was like, okay, will we be able to like make something work? Like I'm willing to pay. And I was kind of like willing to pay at least up to $100 or something, but I just remember them kind of being like, well, you're really going to be learning the horse, so it's really not about that. And then I remember another place was willing to do pictures with horses, but they were costing like 130 for 30 minutes, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get nothing done in 30 minutes. I'm not even gonna be able to get on a horse in 30 minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not gonna get that much done. So once I ended up deciding on this area that's literally around the corner from my house, they had like they have horse stables. It's right by a golf course, but it's like they have horse stables or like just a little place where for them to be at. And I remember calling just to ask if like it was okay if we could take some pictures there, and if the horses, like if we could ride one or if that was something we had to like set up. And the lady was like, "No, they're just for show." And I was like, "Okay, why would y'all just like?" Not saying that horses need to be overworked, because honestly, I feel for the horses. Sometimes we need to just give them a break. Like, but I was also kind of like, why would y'all take these horses from somewhere else, like a whole different state, and like bring them to Illinois to like just have them on display per se? Like, they're not pets. They're like community horses or something. So I'm just like, and you can't really interact with them. They just like exist there. So I'm like, why do y'all have these? Like, why do y'all have the horses? Why did y'all? Anyways, but I was like, whatever, that'll work. Hopefully they'll be out. We get there the day of the shoot. It's raining. It's cold. It's like, and mind you, this is like I'm doing this shoot in like the middle of the summer, right? So it really shouldn't be doing all of this in Chicago, but it is. And it's like drizzling. It's off and on raining. It's cold. We got these outfits on, but we don't have that many layers on because these are costumes. Like, I have on like a cowboy hat, this white shirt, some like jean jacket, some jeans, and a cowboy boot, right? Um, Cedric has on a cowboy hat, like a leather jacket, button up, like a belt, some boots, and some jeans. But like that's it. That's it. That's all we have. And then Jackie, we ended up like switching her costume because I remember doing a first initial dress like up. If she lets me post the picture, I'll show it right there. But like that was initially gonna be her costume, and then I remember she was just like, "I don't really like how I look, blah blah blah," and then I was like, "Okay, girl, we'll figure out something else." Because I also realized that sometimes, like in general, my friends or like just people want me to paint them, but I'm also like specifically choosing people who I think would embody the scene that I'm trying to like paint, not really like, oh, I'm so excited to paint you, which is interesting, but it's just like, okay, you're a really good cast for whoever I want to be in this scene right now. You're gonna be that character, and like people switch around for sure, but you know, we weren't supposed to be cute that day, so it was just like, here, let me just work with you, girl. And so then I ended up, finding like it was like a pirate costume or something. My mom had some pirate costume from a long time ago, and it was giving old. It was something that almost could give saloon, which is not really where we were, but it was like it might work. If we don't think too hard, it might work. So I just let her have that, but it was like a shorter skirt situation. So it was breezy, so it was a lot going on, right? We didn't really have layers, and she had like the least amount of layers, right? So we're out there, it's cold, and I remember it was just like we kind of kept jumping in and out of the car because it was just like the weather really wasn't working with us. But we were making it work, and I was so grateful that my friends were still down to help me, because I get it. Like, we are not professional models, and we are not obligated to be up in here or outside like this taking pictures like this no matter what. Like, but they ride for me. They ride for me. But yeah. So I remember during that scene, because it was the second shoot that I did, I remember it was a lot less organized than the trick shot photo shoot, but that also wasn't that organized either, because I was focusing so much of my time trying to get the costumes together, schedule people's time so that they could all come together, get all the materials, the props, and get the space and make sure that that was the most authentic it could be. But with me doing that, and just making sure I had an extra hand, because in trick shots photo shoot, I literally was just running back and forth between the photos, like just setting the timer and running back and forth and trying to pose really quickly to get that shot, and that was really hard. So I just was like, okay, we have to have an extra hand that's, crucial, so that, we can really get this to work and get the shot that we want. And so I got Summer, but I didn't plan any stage directions. Like I mentioned in the last video, or in not the last video, and Richard know that was the first time that I had really like had stage directions on hand, because I felt like in this specific shoot I had absolutely nothing to tell them to do, and I was just like, all right guys, like just walk around, act like you're in a western, act like you're a cowboy, but like, what does that mean? Like, I'm not telling people to like pick up something, look like they're cleaning, look like they're on the lookout, nothing. I'm not giving any type of direction. Just walk around, just talk, just walk around. And it wasn't clear. Okay, it most definitely wasn't clear. Um, so, and honestly, I remember also after looking at all the photos that we had taken, because these shoots take like 500 photos or more sometimes, like just to get enough so that I can pick through it. But I'm like looking at these photos and I'm realizing, because there's no stage directions, nobody looks like they're really doing anything. And I was like, damn, how am I gonna make this even work? Like, I feel like I have some really good images, and like some like other images that really are just not working. And I'm like, wow, I took so many photos, but like I really have this much to pick from. Like, so I just remember deciding to put them, not rely on just one photo. Most of the time the actual image that I'm working from, like the reference image, is an image that's like a few images put together with some extra stuff moved around, maybe manipulated before I even start painting, just to give me like a smaller idea, or just like, a little glimpse of what I know I want to do within the scene, or within the painting. But yeah, that was an unorganized situation. But, the editing process, I changed out the background, and I wanted it to look a lot more like New Mexico or Arizona, somewhere where it really was giving, kind of Wild West desert-ish, high sand, cactus, like mountain. I wanted that. So I took out like the background that was actually in the scene that we had shot, just because there were like, electrical poles in the houses and different things in the background, and it was giving, you guys are faking, this isn't real, you know. And I was like, no, if we want this to be a mini movie scene, we gotta act like this is a green screen or something. We gotta do something. So I loosely was editing, and I was like, okay, I like how this one image is like standing. I'm adding some grain to the actual image, because I'm like, it should be old looking. I started trying to put like some sepia filters on it, because I was thinking like sepia westerns going together is giving a wanted sign, is giving something. And that color scheme wasn't really working that well at first, so I just was like, okay, well, we're gonna see, we're gonna see what it is. Because I tried to put it black and white first, then sepia, and it was working in terms of like that color, but it just was like, when I paint this, it's just about to be brown, and that's not that exciting. So after that, after me finalizing the image and stuff, I actually started getting to painting. And I was in my advanced painting studio. It's one of the largest pieces that I've done so far. Like, it's a 60 by 72 canvas. So same with Richard No, but it just is one of the larger pieces that I've ever done. I did 2 of those. And so I'm like starting to paint on it, and I'm not really giving myself that much like pre-planned line work. Like, I didn't really draw that much on the space, because I think I was getting tired of laying out stuff within the canvas, because I have to do, or before I was doing this like gridding process to like upscale my images, but I also was freehanding that, so it was, it was a lot of work, and I was getting tired. I was like, actually, we're just gonna start painting. So I just started like, kind of loosely underpainting. I think Cedric started first, and like maybe his second character. Then I started laying in Jackie and me. But the way I was painting it, it was so sloppy. It was so like all over the place, and I just really truly felt like I didn't know what I was doing. Like I hadn't figured out what the distraction, or not the distraction, but what we were going to be distracted from within the scene. I didn't like figure any of that out yet. So I loosely was just like going into this painting and just starting to paint because I had gave myself some deadlines like, okay, Richard No needs to be finished enough for me to move on to the next one so I can like maximize the amount of time I have in advanced painting studio. Because the first time I had been in that class, I was so I was also lost and also unprepared, and I'm a person to work from references of some sort, and because I was so unprepared and I hadn't like pre-planned any paintings, I was just in there like trying to figure stuff out, and it just took me too long and I wasn't getting anything done. I think I had like completed honestly like 2.5 paintings that weren't even that large, like maybe 36 by 48, but just two the entire semester. I remember my teacher's like, "Are you gonna do something else?" I was like, "I'm trying. It's just not working." But you know, that I was just like, if I get into this advanced painting studio again, we gotta push. Okay, you better like. That's why I had planned to do all those shoots in the summer. But while I'm painting, when I'm really lost, I remember having some conversations with one of my teachers who was on my ass that semester. Okay, when I tell you on my ass, she came in, like, mind you, I know that I had missed a day, it was late another day, but I had like explained previously because it was for the heart project, the public sculpture that I was doing, and that they were doing the unveiling and that they were doing interviews for the news and different things. So I kind of needed to just, do those things, but that I would be very, transparent with them, and that I would like still keep up with all of my assignments and still be working really hard to like, make up for the time that I'm missing in class, because SAIC and they strict as attendance policy is like, you miss 3 classes, you're done, you fail. And I was like, okay, well, I'll let you know I'm gonna miss this one. Maybe I get like a half day when I come a little later after 10. But these are 7-hour classes, like they're 9 to 5. So it's like, why? Why is me coming at 10:30? Anyways, we're not gonna talk about that. But yeah, she was kind of on my ass, and I remember kind of feeling a little discouraged earlier in that semester because she wasn't really that impressed with the the film noir painting, Rich or No. She just kind of was like, okay, and she had more questions than anything, but I was answering them, but they felt more like, so why are you doing this in the first place type questions, or like, and I was like giving my answers and kind of, but she just, it just didn't seem like she was vibing with it. And I think she also had explained that she wasn't too, she's the type of person who, when a student or someone who before they graduate starts to get a lot of hype on their art, they're not convinced, she's not convinced that that the work is has paid its dues, or that it's like actually good enough, to get all this press or to get all this hype or something. But she tends to be pleasantly surprised or something. And I'm like, okay. I was like, all right. But I also just be, I don't know, I want to know that like, even if a painting isn't like liked because of maybe the concept or something, I do at least want to know if I'm like doing okay like with the painting itself, or like if technically if it's okay, or if something is going right, rather than just a lot of questions about like what I might be doing wrong, or like, I don't know. I was just like, do you hate it? Damn. But she really resonated with the Western. So while I'm painting it, I remember finally getting to the point where I was like, okay, the first thing we're distracted from, or that's going to kind of take this scene out of just being within the scene itself, is going to be the fact that the scene is going to be burning away like paper, like burnt paper. Just because I started associating burnt paper and old things, like tattered things, with Western. So I was just like, okay, we're burning away. And she started mentioning that it reminded her of this show this old Western show that actually has an intro where the paper burns away and it turns into like you watching the show. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. She started saying she was resonating it with like childhood and where she grew up, which I think either was like in Arizona or New Mexico somewhere, that kind of gave the same aesthetic, and how the piece was really nostalgic. And I was like, that's crazy, because I'm not really thinking of nostalgia, but when I do go back and think about the fact that like I'm interested in westerns anyways because my dad is interested in westerns and it's something that we watched at when I was younger, I think that it's pretty cool that like certain ideas are still being pushed through, or still like coming through the work, even though that's not the main intention here, you know. And so then I'm still like painting on it. I'm still very lost on what I'm doing. I'm like starting to paint Cedric. He's like just in purple, like a purple underpainting. I don't even know why I was going around about that color. I was like, ew, this isn't working. Then I just remember one day starting to glaze burnt sienna right over him, and it was working in the best way possible. And I was like, oh, this is different. Like, this is different. And I kind of was taking inspiration from like the painting process from a lot of people. I was in a studio with like a girl named Jane. She was really nice, and she paints these cool like paintings that are like they're like hard to see, I guess you could see, like like they might be regular objects or just random things, fossils, different things, but the way that she's painting them, it's like a lot of like like a little semi-transparent, semi-opaque layers of like lighter colors brushing on top of the initial paint that she's put down to create this illusion that you're kind of having to like look like through fog or like that the image is kind of like obscured, you know. And I I started using that in the background because I was thinking, you know, let's push some of this stuff back in the distance. Like, we know it's in the distance, but let's really create some atmosphere, you know. And then while I was working on creating that atmosphere, I started thinking, what else can I switch out? Because this burnt paper effect is nice as a border, but like there's nothing in the scene that you need to go find. If you go see the paper burning quick, you're not gonna go find anything. And I'm looking to create some like, you know, hide and seek moments or like little Easter eggs for people to go and look for. So I start hiding bullet lines in the background, like as the mountains, because I was thinking, at first I was just simply thinking, let me switch out the little rope I have on my hip, on my character's hip, make it a snake. I just thought that it was too simple, it was too small, and no one was gonna find it, and it didn't even matter. So I was like, how can I, you know, hide something in plain sight? And it literally was like, you know, this gun is being pointed at the viewer right now because of how Cedric was like holding the gun like this, but there's no bullets coming out, and that's not really what I'm trying to amplify. Maybe I'm like just wondering how to put maybe that object in the scene somewhere where it's not harmful. Not saying that like I'm not really trying to say anything right there, but you know, just thinking about westerns and traditional cowboys are always having shootouts and different little things. So I'm just like, let me just put these bullets as the mountains. They'll work, you know. And so that ended up being the Easter egg that I wanted people to find. And when I started thinking about the actual title of the piece, it was coming from the fact that my mom started having a couple conversations with me talking about the fact that, you know, the work itself, you know, a bullet being like pointed or a gun being pointed at people could be a little intense or something. Like, how do you you know, kind of lighten up the mood or something, or I don't know. And that's where I was just like, you know, oh shoot, like, where did I put the bullets? Like, I kind of was thinking about it in more of a country accent, but I'm not gonna get into that. But it's just like, if I hide the one thing that, you know, you would expect to be coming out of the main centered object, if I hide it within the scene itself, like, maybe it's a little goofy. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really taking these things so serious, honestly, because they're supposed to be fun and they're supposed to just be, um, a fun little activity for people and like a space for people to go and escape into, like a movie, briefly. So, yeah, so that pretty much is the process of, um, you know, oh shoot, where did I put the bullets? Um, I know I wrote a short story about it, and honestly, sometimes I think I have like a little bit of a concept for these short stories, but they most definitely are not concepts while I'm making these paintings. These paintings and these short stories are coming at two different times, so it's like, you know, um, I just think that if I add like another element that people can kind of like read, maybe they're like much more encapsulated within the space. Once again, after they're already like within the space while they're witnessing it and taking time with the painting itself, they can go and read something and kind of keep being within that space, keep escaping. So, you know, I'm happy you guys liked it. I'm so happy you guys voted on it. Um, I really like the painting. It brings me joy for sure. And honestly, I know it's finished. Like certain stuff, I wouldn't put nothing else in that scene. I wouldn't like touch it anymore. Film noir, she might still need some work, but like the distraction piece most definitely is finito. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Coming again. Um, we'll be doing some other stuff like soon other than just these paintings from start to finish. But thank you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.